Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Fridays with Vistage webinar. Before we begin, I would like to go over some items to help you participate in today's webinar. If you are experiencing technical difficulties joining the webinar session, please dial support at 888-259-8414. When you join today's webinar, you selected to join either by telephone or computer audio. If for any reason you'd like to change your selection, you can do so by accessing your audio pane in your control panel. During the presentation, all participants will be in listen-only mode. If you wish to ask a question, please type it into the questions pane. A recording of this presentation will be sent to attendees via email within the next week. Now, I would like to introduce the moderator for today's webinar, Bill Black.
Thank you, Lori. As a business person, you expect your website to perform many vital functions, but do you really know how your website is performing, and more importantly, how it can perform better and more efficiently? Today, we're joined by Vistage speaker Tom Young of Intuitive Websites. Tom will use the entire hour to review and critique Vistage member websites live to help you find ways to improve your website and grow your sales. He'll also review your digital marketing funnel, looking at key touch points, calls to action, and digital conversion points. This is a rare opportunity to get very specific and tangible tactics you can use immediately. You'll get great ideas from each website reviewed. You'll also have the opportunity to comment and ask questions during the webinar. Please type your questions into the chat panel as we proceed. Tom Young is the president and owner of Intuitive Websites. He's established himself as a leader in understanding how prospective customers use websites and has helped his clients create well-designed, user-friendly experiences that positively engage those customers. Tom has more than 25 years of experience in marketing and sales and has worked with clients around the country to help them develop marketing, e-commerce, and internet strategies. He's also the author of Winning the Website War: What Business Leaders Must Know About Web Marketing. So, Tom, I'll turn it over to you to get us started.
Sounds great. Thanks a ton, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here. I love presenting to Vistage member companies, and today we're going to definitely take a unique approach and actually do a interactive live webinar looking at websites and putting your website and digital marketing to the test. Because it's not just me that's going to be observing all this. There are folks watching from the Vistage community as well. So let's get started. I want to review a few things with you first before we look at websites. And that's a quick overview of what we're going to get out of today, what the purpose of this is, and then a little bit of a checklist of things you want to look for when you're reviewing websites. So here are my program objectives for you. This is a marketing program. We want to use the time to get more leads, improve the lead quality, and grow your sales. And from today's webinar, you're going to get tactics you can take back immediately to improve your website, suggestions and ways to improve your marketing funnel, and then an opportunity to interact with me during the webinar, ask questions, and also if you have comments, feel free. If your Vistage peers have comments, put those in there because you'll get additional feedback from them as well. And at the end of this presentation, you'll have a very strong action plan of things you can do immediately to improve leads and sales. And I want to really quick do an overview of our four-step process because this is more or less the foundation for what you need to look at when you review digital marketing or websites. And these slides, by the way, are available in the handout section of the GoToMeeting or the GoToWebinar control panel, and they can also be emailed to you, I'm sure, from Vistage as well. But this is a key when you look at a digital marketing program. What is the strategy behind the marketing? How is that strategy communicated? What are the tactics used to drive awareness in the inbound marketing? And then how are things being measured? Everything that we're going to talk about and look at today can be measured through Google Analytics, through marketing automation, through a variety of online tools. These four steps are critical in having a successful digital marketing effort. And I'm going to be looking for this when I look at your websites. And I want to point out 5 key elements that we want to look at in websites in general. The first is how well does the graphics and the design match the needs of the target market. I'll look at that immediately. And most of the websites I look at today, I have a feeling were built in WordPress. It's the most popular development platform, but I'll be commenting a little bit on development technologies as well. I'll certainly be looking at key messaging and content, how easy the site is to use and navigate, and how is the site using audio visuals, the use of video and the use of interactive components on the website. I'll also look at that for that in social media as well. The homepage will be a big part of what we do. We'll spend most of the time on the homepage, as do most of your visitors. Most of the visitors to websites, spend the majority of time on the homepage, come in through the homepage, and so this is the key landing page for your website, and in many cases for the marketing of your business. So these are the things we're going to look at in the homepage tagline, which what I found over the years is one of the key parts of interacting and drawing people into your site is how strong is your tagline and how engaging is the homepage in the use of a tagline. And I'm going to talk today about simplicity. You're going to hear a lot about keeping it simple and keeping it direct. And I just wanted to show you this very popular website named Google. In fact, maybe the most popular website on the planet. And I just want to stress how simple this site is and how that simplicity drives success for Google, and it can drive success for you. I've also listed some rules of simplicity that you can follow. And these are key things we'll look at today. You probably saw the 10 out of 10 rule on one of the previous slides. I'll be asking that question. Do 10 out of 10 people that come to your website understand what you do, understand what value they get from the website, and then understand how to use the website, how to get more information, how to contact you, and so forth? That's a big part of being successful online. And when we rate websites, here's a few bullet points of things that you can look for and ask about. And as we go through the sites, you can keep these slides next to you. And if you have a question, you know, feel free to jump to one of these slides and focus on that question. Or you may have a comment from one of the websites we're looking at. I'm going to definitely be looking at the marketing funnel and making sure there is a funnel in place, because keep in mind, people coming to your website are usually very top of funnel. They're just beginning their brand research of your company. And so we want to make sure we have a way of pulling them through the funnel as they research your business. And then I have a couple of resources for you. My book, of course, which you can get more information on the website, Winning the Website War. And then my contact information is in the slides as well. So that's my quick introduction, and a PDF of these slides is available for you. And it'd be a good idea to have that open next to the webinar pane as we go through and look at sites. So now I'm going to switch over to Safari, and Bill, we're going to have our first candidate.
Hey, Tom, I was thinking about putting some solar on my house, and I heard about a company called Keln Solar. Keln Solar. Could you look that up? Yeah, Keln. I don't know how to spell it, but it's Keln.
Kelm. So I'm going to guess
with an N. I think it's got an N in it. I think it's got at least an N in it.
Okay. Interesting. So usually
no S.
No S. Okay.
Just Keln. Yeah.
All right. So interesting. So this is what I was looking for. Is Google has already started the process of directing users towards something, and this is really important because most people, even if they know your brand name or have heard of it or want to take a guess at your brand name, will start in Google with the search, and then Google will start to help them. And in this case, Google has helped me tremendously because I didn't know how to spell this company name. And now we can see that I have, you know, a few choices here of where to go. Now, if I didn't have a brand name in here, Google would send me in a whole different direction. But since I have a brand, I am going to take a look at this first one. And here we go. Okay, so now what we're seeing is the first step that many people take in their experience with your brand, which is a Google search result on your brand. And you can see here how important this is for the user and all the different options they get. Now, I do see that what looks like the homepage or your website is listed first, and then there's Facebook pages, a business directory page, a BBB page, and some other directory pages. And then there's this huge section over here, which is your Google business page, which links to maps and links to your Google reviews and a bunch of other things. And you can see how important Google, the emphasis Google places on this. It's half the page. So this is something that you'll always need attention to. Like, for example, you may not want this photo to be the lead photo for your business. Maybe you do, or maybe you'd want to see your products there. But you have control over what is displayed here. Now, given that, we can see a couple things right off the bat too. We can see the SEO outline for this website. I know that their website's been indexed and they have several pages indexed, and then Google displays those pages based on what they think I might want to see. And then this is called the title tag, and this title tag is being displayed. The one thing that can be added to this title tag is keywords that are used in search by your target market. So it's great that you have your brand name here first. You want to have that brand name here first, but you could also add keywords to this title tag that would help in search for folks looking for your products, right? And then this is your meta description. I'm just going to read it real quick. And it looks like that's fairly targeted. There's a little space in between solar and the colon here, so that needs to be fixed. And then free estimate available. So there's a call to action right in the meta description. The meta description is not seen anywhere else, and it's meant to be used to draw people in. Now, I know that you have a branding issue, and Bill kind of alluded to it right off the bat, in that most people will not know how to spell your name. Unless they know your brand, they won't know how to spell your name. So that is something I'm sure that you guys have dealt with. Hopefully you have some ways to deal with that, but it might be better to have a name that 10 out of 10 people could spell, no problem, and find you easier. But given that we're here, let's go to the site. Okay, so I have not been on this website, and the reason I haven't been on any of these sites is because I want to get a first impression. I don't want to lose that first impression and not be able to share it with you. And here is my first impression of this website. The site needs what I call a designer's eye, and I'll tell you why it needs a designer's eye. The biggest thing that stands out to me is all the different font sizes and usages. A professional designer wouldn't do that, right? A professional designer wouldn't have one set of text here that's in italics with a background of some kind and in bold, and then a different set of fonts here, right? And the second thing that draws to mind for me is bringing the products front and center. So a photo like this would be front and center in the banner, as opposed to the photo that is there now. And then let's talk about the tagline, which I mentioned in the introduction: solar panels in Regina installation and supplies. So this, to me and to most users, we're not going to know what in Regina means. Most people won't know what that means. Now, I'm going to assume that means that Regina is a town, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something that has to do with solar panels, that's has to do with installations and supplies. I don't know. In fact, if somebody from Kellen Solar is listening, please put in the suggestion panel what that means in Regina. Now, I do like the request to quote that's here. I do like this image of the solar panels on the house, because this tells me it's very concrete. You must install solar panels on homes. I'm not sure if you do it on businesses, but you certainly do it on homes. Now, I am a big fan of a caption on a photo, so that we can see, like, for example, this is, our solar panels installed on a customer home, right? That would be useful, because I don't want to know that this is a stock photo and this isn't your product. So the other big question I have is commercial versus residential, and here we see commercial and residential. I would bring that to the forefront immediately. I want to know that in your tagline, specifically and very directly, what you do. And it looks like to me what you do is you install solar panels for commercial and residential customers. That's what I think your tagline should be, a variation of that. And then I want to see the solar panels right in that front banner. And then the request to quote is great. Find out more. Let's click on find out more, because now we're going to start to explore the funnel, right? So I'm researching your company, and let's say I'm researching you against 2 or 3 other competitors, right? So this is the about page. So the learn more goes to the about page. And that's good. This is good. But you know what I would like to see is tips and suggestions on how and why solar works, how it's better, what the benefits are, what is the ROI, what is the installation process like, what does it cost. That's what I would want to see on this page. And then I would have the about page be the about page, but maybe the learn more page would be learn more about solar products, right? Because now you're getting people from top of funnel toward the middle of the funnel. They're now researching solar. And then once they research solar and feel like they understand it, they'll research you. And then they'll move more toward the request a quote or contact. And let's look at contact first. You know, it's funny because, and I just want to stress this because this is something I see that's very common on a lot of websites is you know where you're located. Of course, you know where you're located. You go into work every day. But for me, I don't know where you're located. And it would be great to have your address here, where you're located, and where you service customers. Now, it looks like you're in Canada, but I'm not 100% sure. And I do see Saskatchewan down here, so I'm guessing you're in Canada. But where do you sell? Do you sell outside of Canada? Do you sell in a restricted geography? Do you, you know, do you install around the whole country? I mean, those are the kind of questions I would ask. Now let's look at request a quote.
Hey, Tom, quick question.
Yeah.
Isn't it true that in earlier iterations of Google, it was important to have a name like in Regina, the town, in your text, and that's why we saw it so many times on the front page is to bump up your rankings in that local service area?
Yes, it does help with what we would call local SEO. But in this case, I'm not sure if you would need it. I mean, and here's why I say this, okay? If we look, if you're going to be, if you're located in Regina, let's say that's the town you're located in, I would imagine you're going to get found it's going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to be found. I would not imagine that there are dozens of competitors in that town. So I would, like, once again, I would come back to focusing on exactly what you do and make sure that the word Regina is listed in your about page, on your contact page, and where it should be in the content. And maybe you would put in here serving Regina and the following communities or areas, because then that would expand beyond that one SEO area. I think, to me, that would be more important than targeting you know, local SEO traffic, because I think you're going to get that traffic with your website the way it is.
Yeah, I was just curious because I've seen that in I remember years ago, you'd get this copy back for your website and it wouldn't read quite right, but the goal was to get the name of the area in there as many times as possible. And I think that's outdated now in today's design for websites, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too, and you can target local search in a lot of different ways. You can use social media to do that. You can do local landing pages on your website that talk about the local area. It's pretty easy to grab that traffic, but what's more difficult is to get people to fill out forms like this, right? To get them to actually become a lead. And in this case, I just want to say one thing about the request a quote. You definitely want to have a form on your contact us page, which you do. It's a simple form. If you're going to do a request a quote, you'll get more requests for quotes if you have simpler forms. If your form gets complicated, more people bail. And if you have more required fields, more people bail. It looks like you've got possibly minimal required fields here, although you might want to put in here, let me see what you've written. Okay, so it's interesting to note that it looks like you're ready to do a quote without talking to someone, which is, I mean, that could be the case, and that would then require more of a longer form. And there's this cool solar rebates offer here, which is, this is something you might want to bring to the homepage as part of your key messaging. So anyway, I mean, there's a lot to talk about on this website. I hope you guys got some great information. Have a professional designer take a look at this site, bring your key messaging front and center, So 10 out of 10 people understand who you are, what you do, and what communities you serve.
Great points, and I think that's exactly the point of this webinar today, is to learn from each other and learn from what we're seeing on there. Hey, Tom, I have another website. Are you ready for another one?
Let's do another one.
I've been thinking about getting some branded apparel and swag kind of things, you know, the giveaway kind of stuff from my business. And I heard about this company called Righteous. I don't know how to spell it. Righteous. I'm not sure how to spell it, but I would imagine we can find it.
Well, if we do a search on Righteous, it's going to be pretty broad. And there it is, of course. It's very broad. But you mentioned apparel or swag.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if swag would be good. I'm going to try, I could try products.
Or maybe uniforms, or?
Yeah, we could try uniforms. Let's try that. Let's try Righteous uniforms. Interesting. Okay. Righteous. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So once again, here we go. This is where the brand starts to show itself on the first page of Google. The term righteous in your title tag will help you with some brand name, but you're competing against the term righteous. So I would maybe put in Righteous uniforms or Righteous branded apparel and swag in there. Righteous swag didn't show up, but yes, you would certainly get found if you added apparel or swag or uniform into this title tag, and you could do that today. I mean, something you could do today. You could go to your Google Search Console and then have the site re-indexed by Google, and within just a matter of days, you might be showing up number one for some of those terms. I think that would be real important. So let's click through and look at the site. And if I see common things on websites, I'm not going to repeat myself. So I've already talked about Google My Business a little bit. So now let's jump in and look at the actual design of the site. Okay, custom business apparel. Okay, yeah. So the thing about, I will make a comment about images, and I like the look of this website. I like the image. I will say though, if you use an image that has multiple meanings to it, then users will get multiple ideas about what you do. So my very first impression when I saw this image was that you were a cooking instruction website, because it looks to me like these two folks are going to help me learn to cook. That was number one. Then number two was they're going to help me learn to make coffee, because I see the coffee back here. And then my mind has to do kind of a switch and go, well, wait a minute. It says custom business apparel. Okay, well, maybe they sell the clothes that they're wearing, and maybe they sell the clothing. And I didn't get that strong connection on the first glance. So I would ask you guys to rethink this image and think about an image that would show your apparel, your uniforms, so that 10 out of 10 people would say, oh yeah, that's an apparel and uniform company. I can tell right off the bat, I can tell by looking at this photo exactly what they do. And then that photo should relate to this tagline, which is a good tagline that excites your team and inspires higher performance. I like that. It's benefit focused. It's focused on the folks that buy the uniforms, right? Because they want to see that. But the image has a bit of a disconnect between that, because it takes me a while to put those images together. I think there might be a better image that does that immediately, where we see folks that we know are in a uniform, and that's what this is about. And then programs we offer, which would lead me to believe there's the swag, built for you, custom programs. And I like the site's very easy to scroll through, very easy to look at. And then our partners. So now I'm starting to see, wow, okay, now I'm starting to see real credibility here when I see these brands you work with. And we have somebody from Mongolian Grill giving a testimonial. That's all really good stuff. Latest blog posts. And then a contact form. That's all really good. I like that. I'm a little confused by the programs we offer, and I think that the reason being, once again, it doesn't quite meet the 10 out of 10 rule, because this needs to be more specific. So we need to say gear and swag apparel programs we offer. It needs to be something more specific so that I know, oh, okay, good. Now I can see how, I can actually buy maybe a bunch of t-shirts for my team or whatever that might be. Really, there's really a nice website actually, and it's probably mobile friendly, which it is. You can see I changed the size of the site and it adapts. Let's take a look at the navigation. I think the navigation is good because you're focused on four or five key areas, which is also good for mobile. You can see your mobile traffic in Google Analytics to see what that looks like. I like this, our beliefs and values. I like that. That is a differentiator for you guys. And then let's look at the blog, which is the resource. And it looks like the blog is updated, which is good. So, I mean, the site looks good. I'm gonna throw in just a few kind of small suggestions here that I think might go a long way. So the clip art images that you're using in the blog, you know, they're gonna show up they can show up in SEO, they can show up in a lot of different places. I think I would rather see pictures of real people using your products. And I know that's hard to do and challenging, but I think I'd rather see something that I can relate to more. Like this says, the no uniform, and I'm like, what does that image have to do with that? Maybe we could see pictures of real people and real customers and folks wearing your actual products. I would rather see that than clip art photos. And like I said, I know it's more challenging. This is getting closer here, this image here, but I think that would go a long way. You can also tag all those images for SEO. Now, in your navigation, if someone's going to go to services, whatever's top is going to get the most clicks, and you'll see that in Google Analytics, right? Because people click on what's on top first. So let's go a little deeper here. Awesome. So these are the benefits I get from using your products. I was expecting to see products actually, but let's let me go down. Okay. And this is where your industry gets kind of complicated. And we've worked with folks in your industry before. You probably have thousands of products, you know, thousands and thousands of products. So if I'm going to click on our services page and I see the link promotional swag and gear, my thought is I'm going to see promotional swag and gear. But you're probably thinking, well, how do we do that? We've got 2,000 different options for brand awareness, right? But what the user is thinking is, show me some products. So what we recommend that you would do is put some select products in here and help guide people through their buying process. Now, you know, they may not end up buying those products, they may not even be close, but then you use those products then to pull them in to either follow-up emails or your digital marketing process, or have them contact a sales rep, right? So they may come in and say, oh, we want t-shirts for brand awareness. But by the time they're done with the sales rep, you realize they want coffee mugs, right? Or they want something else. I would work on a way to move people through these pages to contact, which I think is missing now. I mean, it's a little bit of an online brochure here. There's an FAQ and there's a form, but I think we need to see products on this page, and probably here too. Yes, I haven't been on. And then the online store section. Let's see some screenshots of the online stores. All right, so if I do want to get into, so I think the call to action and the middle of funnel content and stuff, that certainly can be added to this website. That's going to help. I would bet that the website gets a lot of traffic, and you're probably hoping for more contacts. You're probably wondering, you know, we get pretty good traffic on the website, but why don't we get more inquiries? And that's because you don't have enough for people to research on the site. You're asking people to contact you before you give them a chance to dive deeper into the product, and the product is key in your industry. Anyway, so great. I hope that was useful. Let's keep moving.
Great stuff. Hey, so I'm figuring out in my factory I need more artificial intelligence, and I think I'm going to need some controls. And I've heard of this company called Sure Controls.
Okay, Sure Controls. Sure thing.
Sure.
I like to do this because what Google is telling me is this is what people search on when they start this process. When they start to type in your brand, these are the things that they see. And of course, like I said, if you're looking for something, you know, that doesn't have a brand name in it, it'll show a whole different set. And you could actually do keyword research this way. So let's go to Sure Controls. Nice. So this is good. So now we're seeing some of the things I mentioned before. You see Sure Controls in the title tag. So that's why we're number one, right? Sure Controls, Sure Controls. But they also put in some key words in here as well. And I like that, right? So the title tags is a little bit longer than Google would like to see. It's doing the ... But this is really good because now this website should also be getting traffic for some of these terms as well, web handling and that sort of thing. The meta description is a little bit long as well. You can shorten that. I mean, it's not a big deal, but I'm just reading it right now. It looks like it may be pulling content from the homepage. So you might want to take a look at your meta description and reworking that. But let's click through and take a look. Okay, so here are my first impressions of this website. I'm working to get a sense of what you do, what kind of company you are, and I can see that you're in manufacturing and in industry, an industrial site. But because everything's moving and changing, I don't have the chance to do that, right? I don't get the chance to see a static message and really get to see what you do. And so one of the things that my company does is usability testing. In fact, Vistage is one of our clients. We've done a lot of usability testing for Vistage, help them with the portal, the My Vistage portal. And when you do user testing and you show users rotating images and graphics, users do a very interesting thing. And I didn't really expect to see this when I first started doing user testing, but here's what they do. They ignore it. They scroll down and ignore it. And in more modern websites, they tend to scroll down because websites tend to be longer, but they'll also do something else. They'll just go to the navigation menu. And so I'll ask users, I'll say, you know, you didn't take the time to read the moving images. And users then will say to me, well, you know, I was looking at it and it started moving and stuff. And so I just figured it wasn't what I needed. I wanted to go find what I needed. And then I'll ask them, well, what did you need? I needed to find out more about, you know, how they handle A, B, C, and D. So here's what I think you should do with banners. Pick one image that really encapsulates your company, and pick one tagline that really encapsulates your company, and then have a call to action on there that would be based on the solution that we're seeing. So in what I'm seeing here, I'm not sure what that would be on this website, but let me just pick one here to give you an example. So let's say it's thermal and fluid process. Let's say that's the key thing you do really, really well. Then you might say something to the effect of, you know, the leaders in thermal fluid processes, providing a return that leads the industry, or something like, you know, something that shows how you're different, how you're better, how you're unique. And then the call to action then would be something that might be middle of the funnel, like sign up for a webinar to learn how we do it, get our ebook, or something like that. That's going to be much more effective than the rotating banners. Now, if you have to do rotating banners, then at least keep your content static, right? Have the images rotate in the background, but have the content be static. So I'll do what most users do. I'll scroll down. Need a service, need a product, need information. You know, those three things right there might be a great building on a tagline, because that tells me that you do some really cool stuff, right? So you're more than a product company. You provide service, and then you also have great resource. So I would bet that a lot of people click on these links in here, and they may also go up to products and start to scroll through your products. Let's go through to one of the product pages. Now, I know that your customers probably know what kind of heaters you have, and that you have a wide selection, but it doesn't take a lot of time to put in the industries that you work in or the type of heaters that you provide parts for. Commercial, residential, automotive, industrial. I'm not sure what that is, We want to meet the 10 out of 10 rule. We want 10 out of 10 people to understand what kind of heaters you have. As people hit your website from Google, you know, they may be confused as to, is this the right place or not? And I can't click on these, so I'm not sure what the purpose of this page is. Now, I do like these PDFs here, and I might click on one of those if I wanted more information. So if you're going to list products, and you're going to list them by category, which is what you have here, then you'd want to develop a category landing page for your products, right? So I would go to heaters, and then instead of seeing thumbnails of products, I would see an introduction to the category of heaters. What is it? What do you do? And how are they different or better? And then in that category page, I might see a few examples of products, but then I would be able to go from the category page to the product pages under heaters. And it's pretty much standard for e-commerce sites. Now, you might not sell directly online, but if people are perusing through your website and they're trying to shop on your website, they want to shop like they would on any e-commerce site, even if they can't buy on the site. So I would do that with your products page. I think that would help with the clarity. But I do love the thumbnail approach. I do like seeing a quick thumbnail of the product with a quick description. You might want to check the design elements on how this is set up, because you know, you can have a designer line this up better and lay it out better, so it's really clear what image goes with what content. And there's probably more to it, but I'm just, for the sake of time, I'm going to go over to services and look at integrated solutions. Now, services in this case can follow the same type of approach. You have a landing page for integrated solutions, which this is in some ways is a landing page for that. It also needs some layout and design work because of you can just see in the spacing and so forth. I like where you're going with this. I also think this website needs a designer's eye to kind of clean it up a little bit. And landing pages should be more visual and more tagline oriented, where you know, a page like this might be better used on a services description page or even in a blog post or something like that. So I would encourage you to think about the concept of designing landing pages for these key service and product areas. You can then code those for SEO as well, and they would be very, very helpful. Certainly want to include a blog in your resources section. Websites with blogs get a lot more traffic. And I'm not sure what software downloads would be for, because I didn't take you to be a software company. Now, maybe I missed something, or maybe those aren't software downloads. Maybe they are manuals and spec sheet downloads. So that would be, you know, confusing. People would think that you're maybe a software company at that point. Oh, and the blog is under About. So yeah, so we want to move the blog to resources, and then the online store is under About, which is interesting. So at this point, I'm kind of lost now. I don't know where I am, but here's what I think this website needs. I would come back and rethink the navigation on the site, and rethink the approach of the site and the use of it as a shopping site for products and services. And so you might even just rethink about the layout of these pages and do a new, possibly a new sitemap, maybe a wireframe for how everything's laid out, and then have a designer come to the site and really put a designer's eye on it, right? And you've got some nice photography to work with. It's interesting. So there's a lot of good stuff to work with here. I just think it needs to be tightened up a little bit. I'm going to look at one more thing before we go on. I'm going to look at the conversion points. Okay. I would want to definitely build on this resources section so that people have an opportunity to research your company more before they go and submit a form. And then you can certainly connect forms to each of these products. Now this one's laid out a little differently. So if I wanted I guess if you sell robotics, but if you did sell robotics, how could I submit a form for robotics, right? How can I contact you specifically about one type of product? Now, we haven't done this yet, but let's take a look at their LinkedIn page, because social media is really important for traffic generation, for visibility, and for branding. You're not going to get a lot of sales from social media, direct from social media, but building your followers and building your brand in LinkedIn is really important because so many people use it. It's also great for hiring good employees. And it looks like you are posting information and content here. You certainly want to link that back to your blog, right? So any blog posts would be linked in social media as well. Let's take a second, Bill, and see if there's any questions or any comments that we want to address before we go to our next website.
No particular comments. A lot of people are asking if we can review their sites, and we're trying to get to as many as possible. We have about 20 minutes left, so let's move on to the next one. I'm thinking about getting some new pool furniture because it seems like it's still summer out there in most of the country. How about a company I heard of called Ledge Loungers? Ledge Loungers. Easy for me to say.
Ledge Lounger. There we go. I'm going to do a little different. I'm going to go through what is probably a product, and hopefully it's a popular product because it's showing up high in Google. So let's go through the Ledge Lounger Signature Chase. Let's see what comes up for here. Interesting. So now we see that there's a whole nother set of things to look at in what Google's displaying here. So now, because Google thinks that I'm shopping, Google wants to make some money, right? So they're going to start showing me ads. They're going to start showing me products within their store, and they're going to try to get me to buy something. And I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon shows up. Yep, there's Amazon. So Tom, you're not looking for a company now, you're looking to buy. So let me sell you something. And then here's ledgeloungers.com. I won't click on your ads, so I'm not going to charge you any dollars. But let's look through this. So this is an ad written through AdWords, and they are doing something which kind of has a little bit of controversy in digital marketing, which is the idea of, should we put up ads for our own brand when we're already listed #1 in organic search? Should we have an ad here? Well, and the answer to that is based on the return you see. So if the ad is bringing you a return and you can see that based on sales, then that's probably working, right? Because if you take down the ad, it's kind of like the bird in the hand. If you have the sale, take it. If you take down the ad, you may not get that sale. That's #1. #2 is what kind of exposure is this ad giving you through other networks online? If you're, because these ads are shown in not just Google, but in a lot of other places. So all that has to be measured, because if you're not #1, then AquaChairs will be #1. And some people click on ads, even people that say they never click on ads tend to click on ads when they're shopping. Let's come into the site through this products page and take a look. So I will say this, and this is definitely so important in today's shopping environment. Photography is everything. Photography is everything, right? And I know that folks shopping for this type of product, unless you're doing B2B, I'm thinking B2C here, but if you're doing B2B, it's different, right? But in B2C, consumer markets, photography is everything. So we want to see, how is this used? We want to see people in the chair. We want to see the ability to see the chair close up. I mean, it looks like it's a very, very basic product. I actually was expecting to see something a little bit more fancy, but here it is. Let me click through this one. And now we're on an e-commerce site, and it looks like it comes in different colors. Oh no, maybe that's a pillow. Now I can see pictures of oh, okay, you see, so I don't know if other people saw this or not, but I had no idea you actually put these in the water. And I was wondering, I thought there probably was some usage to this because they were so basic looking. But this is kind of cool. So it's all about images. Images tell the story, images motivate people to buy. And I think that one category page was missing the images that make it strong. Let's go to Ledge Lounger. Look at the home page. Check out your pool's edge. I like this picture better than the one before, and I'll tell you why. The one before was distracting. It had, you know, this could be a swimsuit, this could be a swimming pool company, this could be a vacation company. It's a lot more clear what you are here, you know, and I think it's because the product is so well featured. Relax in water in style with our trademark in-pool furniture. That's a good tagline. But it looks like you do more than that. So this is, once again, now we're getting back to that idea of rotating images. So I'm struggling to figure out, okay, what is the tagline then? The tagline is probably going to be more pool products, our new collection of outdoor patio furniture. Well, that's completely different now. Okay, so, you know, one of the best ways to get clarity on what you're doing is by having perhaps photos that show several of your products and then one tagline that says a comprehensive line of certain type of furniture. And then as people scroll down, let's see more pictures of the products. So for e-commerce websites, I mean, there's a lot of e-commerce companies out there that do this really well. So I don't have to, I mean, you can go and see how people organize their products by categories, how they display their key products on their homepage. I think that would be something that would be important for this website. How do you show the breadth of your products, what you sell, what you don't sell on the homepage in a very straightforward, easy way to see it visually? I think that's going to be key for this site. I like the menu system. This is really cool. This definitely helps me figure out what it is you do. I had no idea you did the chairs as well. And you do ping pong tables. Wow, okay. So let's go in and look at one of these signature chairs and let's see if we can buy it online. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many things I'm trying to guess on this website. I wish I didn't have to guess so many things. Like, is this chair really $659? Is that possible? Is the chair even for consumers? I mean, are you selling to hotels? That sort of thing. So there's those, I mean, you know, I'm sure when you guys launch this website, and a lot of people that look at this website would say it's fantastic. It is so cool. Look at all the cool stuff on the site. And it is. It's got great images and looks like great products. Once we dive into the technicalities of the site and once we become shoppers and buyers and we look to convert, that's when you can start to see the things that come up, right? Who is the target market? Why was that chair so expensive? Why is there no price on this one? Oh, there it is. Okay, it came up. Why is that $559 for one umbrella? So now we can start. Now you can start to see what users go through, and this site would benefit tremendously from user testing with your target market. Will you bring them in and ask them to do just what I'm doing, and don't talk, don't help them, don't lead them on. Just see if they'll buy. See if they'll buy and see what keeps them from buying. If you explain to me why the chair is that expensive, maybe, you know, it's for hotels, maybe it's because of the quality. I mean, that would have to be explained on this website.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Tom, I think your Amazon feeds are going to be really confusing. The offers you're going to get over the next few days, I can imagine, from your searches.
I'm going to be buying some kind of automation controls in my pool.
Here's the next one. Hey, we're trying to get to you out there. I was visiting a client of mine who has flame-resistant clothing in their factory, and I need that. And they said the name was Tyndale or Tyndale. I'm not sure which. Can you search for that?
Well, let's start with the general search. I'm glad you mentioned flame-resistant clothing because that's, I'm sure, a very popular search in Google. And once again, Google knows I'm shopping, and so here come the ads. And it's real interesting over the years watching Google progress and how they're really becoming a a competitor to Amazon, right? So people think of Google as a search engine. Well, no, Google wants to sell stuff. They get money off of pretty much everything you see on my page right now, Google makes money off of. That's not what Google started as. They were a search engine for people doing research, but now you can see how they're competing with Amazon and how they're doing it in a very subtle and silent way. People just don't really know, but that's what they're doing. So now let's look through that. You mentioned the company name, Bill. Let's see if we see them.
Yeah, it was. My friend said it was either Tyndale or Tyndale. I'm not sure.
Well, let's go see if Google can help.
Get the spelling from my friend. And again, folks, I know the spelling. This is just the typical thing we see, right? A client will say, "Hey, I think it's Tyndale or Tyndale. I'm not sure." So now we got to find it.
When we don't know, we spell phonetically. And of course, Google is an amazing resource because Google knows what I'm looking for and spelled it with the Y. And I'm going to guess that that's who they are. Let's take a look.
That's right.
Now, I want to just point out a couple of things to the folks from Tyndale. Because I put the term flame-resistant clothing before your brand, Google still thinks I'm shopping. So they threw all these ads up here and the Google shopping ads and so forth. You still did come up #1 in organic because of the unique name. Then it's in the title tag. It's Tyndale USA. You want to get Tyndale.com if you can, but hey, you know, we'll take it. Tyndale USA got the first one. And then the term that is here is flame-resistant clothing, which matches what I put in here, flame-resistant clothing, and then managed uniform. So this shows you guys the importance of the title tag. For the companies that didn't have anything in their title tag other than their company name, look at what happened here when I put in flame-resistant clothing. They came up #1 for that with their brand. So that's why you want to put that in. It does make a difference. And then of course there's Amazon and so forth. So let's click through. Interesting, this website is similar to the manufacturing site we just saw in its layout and design. Once again, we talked about rotating images and so forth. I barely got through that first one before it changed. So like I said, most users will scroll down and see what else is here. Workwear. So let's bring it front and center that you guys are flame resistant workwear. I mean, I think that's what you are, and I think that's where how you're different and how you're better. Maybe it's not. Maybe there's more to it. But let's bring it front and center. What you do really well, what you do better and differently than anybody else in the marketplace. I want to see that front and center, and I want to see pictures of your product that do that. And in fact, my favorite picture so far is this one, because I see the product and I see that it's workwear, and it looks like it might be more than fire resistant. That might just be one of the benefits. This is cool too. This is good middle of the funnel stuff for you guys out there watching. Their safety library. So safety is a huge issue in manufacturing and in in a lot of places where people have to work with hazardous environments, oil and gas and so forth. So this is really good stuff for them. It gets them engaged with your brand, and it helps in SEO, and we're big fans of that. Now I want to go look at products. Now, once again, we want to follow that idea of product categories and then individual products. And I'm guessing you probably do B2B, and maybe you sell through distributors as well. So that might be why I'm seeing some stuff like in the navigation. There's a lot to take in on this page. You know, I like simplicity. I also like when we want to try to avoid call to actions that look like ads. Okay. I'm sure when you guys did this video, you were thinking, wow, that's so cool. Look at that. Oh, wow, it blows up. It's so cool. But for the average user, it can be a distraction because they tend to want to turn it off. I don't want to see, let me get, it's not what I didn't want to see that. I wanted to get some jeans or I wanted to see, if they had shoes. I don't want to see this blowing up thing, right? So that I would encourage you to get to pictures of the product right away, get pictures of the categories right away. That would be helpful. So I see a navigation menu over here. I'm going to click on it. It's not displaying for me in some reason. I'm in Safari on a Mac, which is a pretty popular browser. Oh wait, here it goes. It's loading. So it's slow to, it's just loading slowly. Okay. So once again, we covered some of the e-commerce stuff, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but I think that following the guidelines of e-commerce would really be good. Let's see if we can buy these online. Add to cart. So let's pick a couple sizes here. Okay, it looks like we can buy. I mean, there's a lot happening here. And once again, user testing would be great on this website just to see, how easy it is for people to shop and buy. Create new account, existing account, check out as guests. That's all good. Now, so the advice I would have for you guys is the depth of your resource section is going to be great. Great for SEO, great for buyers that buy in bulk and people that want to have a long-term relationship with you. Make sure you give attention to this resources section because it's going to be very useful. And it looks like the blog is being updated, and that's all great.
Tom, great information. We have about a minute for final comments. And again, we apologize for those who submitted websites that couldn't be reviewed. Obviously, we just didn't have enough time to get to all of them. But yes. Tom will be happy to review those at tom@intuitivewebsites.com. Tom, what did we learn today in about a minute?
Well, I think, so here's the thing. Yes, absolutely. If you didn't get your website reviewed, send me an email. We'll set up a quick meeting. We'll share screens and I'll give you 20, 30 minutes of my time to review your site. Happy to do that. I think what we learned from this meeting is that you've got to see your website from the eyes of your consumers. I think we get too close to our website. We get too close to our messaging. And of course, we know what we do. We know where we're located. We know why our products are so great. But we've got to have this mantra at our company that we're going to simplify that message. We're going to be very direct about what it is we do, what we're really good at doing. And we're going to use very simple, direct images with messages, brief messages, to communicate that. The better you can do that, the better the first impressions, and the better you'll pull people through your digital marketing funnel and get them started in the research so that they'll eventually become your customers. So I hope this was valuable for you all, and I look forward to talking with some of you to follow up.
Thank you, Tom. Very, very well done. Terrific presentation and popular as always. Tom Young of Intuitive Websites. I want to thank you for attending today's webinar. We invite you to join us for some of our upcoming webinars. On October 25th, Vistage Chief Research Officer Joe Galvin will share the findings from our latest report decision factors for 2019 and beyond. You'll learn actionable insights for the 7 factors that should be part of your decision making to finish a year strong and include in your 2020 planning. And on November 1st, Stephen King, Vistage member and CPA, will share his perspective on making data-driven decisions in his presentation, KPIs and the 4 core decisions to increase profits. Then, November 8th, join Candice Morton of Insperity for 4 key strategies to retain top talent, to learn how to retain your top-performing team members through times of change at your company. Visit vistage.com/webinar for a complete list of our upcoming webinars, as well as links to recordings of past webinars. That's vistage.com/webinar. This is Bill Black, wishing you continued success on behalf of Vistage Worldwide. This concludes today's webinar.